Once upon a time, there lived a brother and sister named Hansel and Gretel. Their mother had passed away when they were babies. They lived with their dad in a hut in the forest. Their dad was trying to earn their living by working as a woodcutter and was looking after the kids at the same time. A couple of years passed, and struggling to juggle work and 2 kids at the same time, their dad decided to get married again. The woodcutter's wife was from a wealthy family, and she hated the fact that they were poor and she had to live in a small ruined hut deep into the forest. Plus, she did not like her stepchildren at all. On a cold winter night, as they were getting ready for bed, Hansel and Gretel heard their stepmother talking to their dad. "How are you going to get through this winter? We don't have enough food. If you do not get rid of these kids, we will all starve to death." Their dad opposed furiously. "No need to argue. I made up my mind. Tomorrow we'll take them to the woods and leave them there." Hearing all that, Gretel started to cry. Her brother Hansel comforted her.
"Please don't worry, Gretel. Somehow we'll find our way back home."
Later that night, Hansel snuck out and collected as many pebbles as he could in his pockets. In the morning, they all started to walk towards the forest. Their father told them that they were going for a family hike. As they were walking, without anyone noticing, Hansel dropped the pebbles to mark the way back. In the afternoon, their dad and stepmother lit a fire and told them that they will be back soon. They walked off and vanished in the woods. Of course, they did not come back. When the night fell, the horrible sounds of all the wild animals in the forest started to echo around them. Shivering with the horrifying sounds of the wolves, Hansel and Gretel did not leave the fireside until the moonrise. Then they started to follow the pebbles shining in the moonlight and walk towards home.
"Well done, Hansel. This was very clever of you."
When the kids came back home, their dad was very happy and surprised at the same time. Their stepmother also acted as if she was happy, but deep inside, her decision was still the same. She was very upset that they were back. After 3 days, the stepmother tried to get rid of them again. This time at night, she locked Hansel and Gretel's door and did not allow Hansel to collect pebbles again. But Hansel was a clever boy. When they were walking to the forest in the morning, this time he dropped the breadcrumbs that he had put in his pocket the night before and again made a trail the way back home. Around noon, their father and stepmother made up an excuse and went off, leaving them all alone in the forest again. Realizing that they were not coming back, Hansel and Gretel wanted to start walking back home before it got dark. But this time, they could not find the trail they left because all the breadcrumbs were eaten by the birds. Gretel started crying. For the first time, Hansel also felt hopeless. This time the kids were really lost. With no food and scared to death, they wandered around the forest for 3 days. On the 3rd day, they saw a bird, white as snow. The bird chirped songs with its beautiful voice for them. They forgot their hunger for a moment and started to follow the bird. The bird brought them in front of a funny-looking house. This house had walls of bread, a roof made out of cake, and windows of candy, and was covered with colourful cream all around. Hansel and Gretel could not believe their eyes. The house looked incredibly delicious. The kids forgot all about how tired they were and started to run to the house. Just as they were both going to have a bite from the house, they heard a voice from inside.
Oh! Now who is nibbling on my house?
They looked around and they saw a cute and sweet old lady at the door. When they told her all about what had happened to them, she felt very bad for them, and so she let them in. The inside of the house was very different from the outside. It was dark, scary, and it didn't feel right. But because they were so tired and hungry, the kids did not care much. The old lady brought all kinds of food and desserts for them, and the kids ate food that they hadn't had before. That night, they slept on the softest bed they had ever seen. When they woke up in the morning, the old lady wasn't there. They started to look around. At the end of the corridor, they saw a small door. When they opened the door, they found cases full of gold and treasure inside. They were very surprised, of course. Hansel wanted to get in and take a closer look. Right at that moment, they heard her voice again.
And what do you think you are doing?
When they turned around, the kids faced the witch standing right there in front of them. Apparently, the old lady was a witch leading the kids to a dungeon with a house covered with cake and candy. The kids tried to run away, but the door was locked. The witch pulled Hansel by the hair and locked him in a cage. Then she dragged Gretel to the kitchen.
Your brother is too skinny. Cook some food for him and make him fat. When he's in good shape, he'll be a delicious meal for me. But don't you dare eat anything. All the food is only for him.
Having no choice, Gretel did what she asked for. Fortunately, Hansel was a clever and wise boy. He decided to trick the evil-hearted witch. Every night when the witch was asleep, he was digging a hole in the ground of the cage. The witch was controlling Hansel every morning to see if he gained weight or not. But Hansel wasn't eating anything his sister cooked. Instead, he was burying them in the hole that he digged. In the meantime, the witch was telling Gretel to cook more. This went on for days until finally the witch had enough.
Fat skinny? I don't care anymore. Today I will make Hansel pie.
She turned to Gretel.
Look in the oven to see if the dough is baked enough.
Although she was in fear, Gretel was also a wise girl just like her brother. She understood that the witch was going to push her in the oven.
I can't get my head in there and see the dough,
whined Gretel. The witch pushed her aside and stuck her head inside. Gretel gathered all her strength and pushed the old witch into the oven and closed the oven door. Gretel knew where the witch was hiding the keys. She ran straight away and saved Hansel from the cage. The flames from the oven covered the whole house. Hansel and Gretel ran away from the burning house into the woods, but they did not know where to go. A while later, they came across a river. A giant swan took them one by one to the other side of the river. The kids looked around and suddenly they realized where they were. They ran home as fast as they could. Seeing his kids, Father was full of joy. With tears of joy, He explained to them how their stepmother had gone back to her parents' house soon after they had left them in the forest, and how sorry he was for all that he did, and no matter how hard he had searched for them, they were nowhere to be found. The kids loved their father very much, so they forgave him. But another surprise was waiting for their father. They both reached their pockets and brought out gold and diamonds they had found in the witch's home. Their father could not believe his eyes. All the problems that their family had ever had went away, and they lived happily ever after.
Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a very cute girl named Karen. She lived in a tiny house with her mother and was a very happy girl. She would ask her mother about everything she was curious about.
Mom, what are these tiny lights in the sky?
They are stars, Karen. Everyone who lives on Earth eventually turns into a star and shines in the sky forever. Karen only had one toy, one dress, and a pair of wooden slippers she wore on the street. The wooden slippers her mother made for her were not very comfortable, but they were the only ones she had. One day, Karen's mother got very sick. So Karen went to town to buy medicine for her mother, and along the way, she found a pair of red shoes in a box on the roadside. The shoes shone so beautifully that Karen couldn't help but bring them home with her.
Look, Mommy, I found these by the roadside. Aren't they beautiful? Just right for me.
These may belong to someone else, Karen. You should immediately take them back.
But if they had an owner, she wouldn't have left them there with the box.
Maybe the owner dropped it accidentally.
Then they shouldn't have dropped it. I found them. They belong to me now. They're mine.
Baby, listen to me carefully. I may not be able to buy you new shoes right now, but I don't want you to wear someone else's shoes just because of that. Please, don't be stubborn. Promise you won't wear these red shoes. Karen sadly promised her mother not to wear red shoes and hid them under her bed. Months passed by until one day Karen came home and couldn't find her mother in the house. She looked all over until she realized that her mother had become a bright star. The next day, on her way to her mother's funeral, Karen put on those red shoes. Those who came to the funeral couldn't take their eyes off Karen's shoes.
How dare she wear red shoes? So disrespectful.
But Karen did not care because she loved her shoes. A good-hearted old woman passed by the cemetery. This old woman learned that this little girl was now an orphan and wanted to adopt her.
Come with me, pretty girl. I will do my best to make you successful and beautiful when you grow up.
So Karen went to live with the old woman for many years.
Karen, you've been wearing these shoes since your mother's funeral. You need to take them off now. They're so dirty. No, I love my red shoes. Oh, Karen, don't be so stubborn. Come on, change your shoes. I'll buy better shoes, I promise.
Karen did not want to offend the old woman who had been so kind to adopt her. So she finally took off her red shoes and threw them away. Days passed until one day, Karen was playing in her new room with her new clothes and toys and the old woman brought her a new pair of shoes. But Karen didn't like these shoes at all.
But these are blue. Very ugly. I don't like them at all.
So for years to come, Karen missed her red shoes a lot. She grew into a beautiful young lady, but her stubborn attitude never changed. Even when the old lady brought her gifts.
I don't want to wear this thing. But I knit this for you.
I'll never eat this food.
Make me French fries. At least take a little bite, darling.
The old woman was very upset when Karen got up from the table without having a meal. She made French fries for her and took them to her room. At that time, Karen was taking off her blue shoes.
Look! See? All my things are so small now. I've grown up. Well, come on then. Let's buy you new clothes and shoes.
Then the old woman and Karen went to the store.
Oh, look! Just like my favorite red shoes. I must have them. Let's get these. Karen, you don't need fancy red shoes. You need shoes that you can wear respectfully. Like, if we need to go to a funeral. I can only buy you one pair of shoes. Let's buy those black ones and go home. I am very tired.
I don't care. If you don't buy both shoes, I'll walk barefoot everywhere from now on.
Little girl, I wish you weren't so stubborn.
The old woman bought the black shoes for Karen and spent the last of her money to appease her with the red sparkly shoes, too. They had to walk home on foot. The old woman's feet hurt a lot along the way, and she could not keep up with the spoiled Karen. And Karen didn't care. She walked on home with her new red shoes. One day, the old woman told Karen that they needed to attend a funeral in town.
Karen, be sure to put on your black shoes. Otherwise, it will be disrespectful at the funeral.
Karen looked at the black shoes in her room, and then at the bright red ones. She chose to put on the red shoes. When they left the house, she covered them up with her skirt, so the old woman would not see the shoes. However, at the funeral, everyone saw Karen's shoes, shining brightly under her skirt. They spoke amongst themselves about Karen's red shoes at the funeral and about how disrespectful the shoes were. When what was said came to the old woman's ear, she got very angry.
You didn't listen to what I told you, and you put on the red shoes again. You're so stubborn, Karen. Show some respect.
A handsome young lord passing by at that time was struck by Karen's beauty. He came to her and went down on his knees and gave her compliments.
How beautiful you are, and so delicate in these beautiful shoes.
My lord, you make me blush.
You must be a very good dancer. I invite you to the dance night in the palace tonight. Please come.
With the happiness of the Lord's offer, Karen started dancing with joy. But after a while, Karen couldn't stop dancing.
Why can't I stop my feet? What is happening? Oh!
Karen started walking away from the old lady and the Lord while she was dancing.
Karen! Come back!
Even though the Lord chased Karen for a while, he lost her. Karen's red shoes turned out to be more stubborn than Karen. They took her until top of the mountain and made her dance day and night for 3 days. Karen's feet hurt so much that she screamed at every step.
Ah! Ah! Oh!
even though they got into the mud and prickly needles stuck, the shoes kept dancing. Enough! I'm very tired. I won't be so stubborn from now on. I promise. Please stop. Shoes, please stop. Stop. And when Karen said she'd give up all her stubbornness, the red shoes jumped off her feet, and Karen, too, fell to the ground. And the red shoes kept on dancing without her. Karen found a stick and managed to limp home in pain. Her legs hurt a lot. She started to cry with happiness when she saw her house. The old woman greeted her at the door. They hugged each other. I know I was a very stubborn girl, but I promise I won't be like that anymore. After Karen gave up her stubbornness, things started to get better. One day, someone knocked on the door. It was the young and handsome Lord.
Well, there you are, Karen. I tried to keep up, but you danced so fast. How did you do that?
Karen was glad to see the handsome and young Lord. That was the day the Lord and Karen's love began, leaving stubbornness behind. Karen lived a happy and peaceful life. Once upon a time, a father and his 2 young daughters were living together in a land far, far away. One of the girls was very diligent, and the other was very lazy.
You barely help at all, and I'm exhausted. Oh no! You are already doing the cleaning. Why should I get my hands dirty now?
Their old father was a hard worker, and he was always tired. The only meal they had was soup and some dry bread in the evenings. One day, the old father made a request of his daughters.
My dear daughters, you know, I love you both so very much. I've been thinking. You are both adults now, and it is time for you to take more responsibility. I want both of you to find a job and work.
You are right, Daddy. I will find myself a job.
And what about you, my daughter?
My sister should get a job, 'cause, that's so her thing. But I think I'd better do the housework, Daddy.
The old man was happy to see his daughters so eager. The next day, while the diligent girl left home to find a job, her father came to her.
My dear daughter, I have some advice for you. Never refuse someone who asks you for help. Always be diligent. Love your job. Do the job that was given to you to the best of your abilities.
Thank you, Daddy. I will never forget your advice.
That's my girl. Bye-bye.
The diligent daughter set off to find her job, while the lazy daughter, who said that she would do the household chores, did nothing. The house was getting more and more messy and getting dirty every day. The diligent girl walked for days, but had not found anyone to work for. After a while, the diligent girl saw a tree with dried branches and roots.
Hello, young girl. Can you clean my dry branches and give me some water to my roots?
The diligent girl then cleaned all the dry branches of the tree until her palms were bruised, and watered the roots with her own drinking water.
Thank you, young girl. But now you have no water left.
It's okay. You needed help, and I helped you. I can walk a little more and find water for myself.
The diligent girl continued on her way. Farther on, she came across a hearth with broken and cracked parts.
Hey, young girl, can you repair me and make me look better?
The diligent girl took a handful of mud near her and patched all the cracks on the hearth.
Thank you, young girl. But you got so dirty because of me.
Oh, it's okay. Clothes don't matter. You needed help, and I helped. The diligent girl left the brand new hearth behind and continued on her way. After a while, a lovely lamb appeared, but the lamb was black, like coal, from head to toe.
Hello, young girl. I accidentally got into the coals and got dirty. Would you bathe me in that lake over there?
The diligent girl washed the lamb by the lake. The lamb was white and soft as before.
Thank you, but you're drenched because of me. You needed help, and I helped. I was already very dirty. Now I'm cleaner.
The diligent girl continued on her way. When it got dark, she came across a beautiful house. Oh, where 7 fairies lived. The diligent girl entered.
Hello. I apologize for coming to your home without permission. I am a young girl looking for a job to work. You can work here if you want, young girl. There are 7 rooms in our house. You will only clean 6 rooms every day, but you must not go into the 7th room.
The diligent girl accepted the job. She cleaned 6 rooms diligently every day, as fairies said, for a full year. She never entered the 7th room. And when she had enough money, she asked permission from the fairies to return home.
Of course, young girl. You can go home. I'm wondering why you never entered the 7th room.
My father used to say to do the job right, no matter what. During my time here, my job was to clean only 6 rooms. And that's what I did. That's what you told me to do.
We would like to reward you for your honesty and diligence. Come on, come with us.
The fairies asked the young girl to enter the 7th room. When the girl entered, she saw a lot of silver and gold coins.
Now, you roll around in these coins, and any that stick to you will be yours.
Diligent girl tumbled left and right in coins. She looked almost like a star with the money sticking on her. Then the diligent girl left the fairies to return home. On the way, she came across the lamb she had washed before. The lamb was covered with pearls.
I did not forget your help, young girl. Take and get as many pearls as you want.
The diligent girl thanked the lamb and covered her arms and neck with pearls and continued on her way. This time, she came across the hearth she had previously repaired.
I did not forget the help you gave me, young girl. Take it. My warm breads, my lovely cakes are yours.
The diligent girl ate some of the bread given by the hearth and took some of it to take home and continued on her way. A little further ahead, she saw the tree. Its branches were covered with fruit.
Come, young girl. I did not forget the help you gave me. Take it. All my grape juice is yours.
The diligent girl thanked the tree and finally returned home.
Thank you very much. What a fruitful experience.
Her father and lazy sister greeted her at the door. The girl's bundle was full of gold and pearls. The lazy sister was very jealous when she saw that her sister was so rich.
Look at all those coins. I must go find a wealthy family to get a job from. If my sister has pearls, I will get emeralds.
The lazy girl told her father that she is leaving home to look for a job.
Oh, okay, my daughter. But you couldn't even work at home. How will you find a job out there?
The lazy girl left before her dad could even finish talking. She walked day and night. A little further down the road, she came across a tree with dry branches. The tree asked the girl for help.
Hello, young girl. Would you clean my...
I can't deal with you under the sun. My hair will get messy. Bye.
The lazy girl moved on. She saw a cracked and broken hearth a little further. Hearth asked her for help.
I can't get my thin and delicate hands dirty for you. My nail polish goes bad. Bye.
The lazy girl did not help the hearth either. Then she came across a lamb that was dirty, like black coal. And the lamb asked her to give her a bath.
Ew, disgusting. Get out of my way, you dirty thing.
The lazy girl ran away.
What a lazy little lamb. Can't even wash itself.
And came upon a huge house. The lazy girl took advantage of this and asked for work from the 7 fairies who were the owners of the house. The head fairy asked her to stay for a year and clean only 6 rooms.
Don't forget, young girl, you will never ever be able to enter the 7th room.
The lazy girl reluctantly cleaned all 6 rooms for months. However, one day she gave in to her curiosity and entered the 7th room. Instead of gold and silver coins, there were bees and bats inside. The bees stung the lazy girl in such a way that she was scarred all over. She was very hurt. The girl immediately left there and started running towards the house. As she ran, she saw the lamb, which she turned down her request for help. The lamb was covered with pearls. The girl wanted to catch the lamb to get some pearls, but the lamb ran away from her. The girl continued walking and was very tired. At that moment, she came across the hearth that she turned down that requested her help. There were loaves of fresh warm bread on the hearth. When the girl wanted to buy a slice of bread, the hearth got hot, and lazy girl's hands got burned. When the lazy girl ran away from there, she came across the tree, which she had refused to help. There were bunches of fruit on the branches of the tree. When the lazy girl tried to pick some fruit, the tree leaned to the right. The girl ran to the right, but the tree leaned to the left this time. Tired of running around, the lazy girl finally gave up on getting the fruit. She walked non-stop for 2 full days and finally got home. Her father and sister saw her returning home in dirty clothes and injured, and they were very surprised. The lazy girl told what happened to her with great regret.
Oh, and I can't believe it. I hurt so much. Oh.
My dear sister, now you understand how important it is to be hardworking.
Remember, girl, when you are honest and hardworking in this life, you will be rewarded for sure.
After that day, the lazy girl has not been idle and lazy since. The 2 sisters both worked hard and were rewarded well. And this small family had happy, productive, and peaceful days throughout their lives.